Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the fact that the Islanders have fired Lane Lambert as their head coach. So before we get into it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So yeah, all the stuff that happens that's breaking news just has to happen when it's the weekend and we live in a small house. So my wife and I it's hard to do videos in there. So here we are in the car talking about the fact that Lambert has been fired after 1.5 seasons with the New York Islanders. In his times, things didn't go particularly bad, but they didn't go particularly great either last year. They did end up getting back into the playoffs, which was a concern with Barry Trotz and where the team was headed. And they were able to get back into it, but they weren't able to really do anything. They ended up losing to the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round in like 6 games. It was fun to be able to see them get back there, but at the same time, too, they have more expectations or hopes with some of the money that they put into this team. And then this season, obviously, they're not in a playoff spot at the moment. So in Lambert's time with the club, they went 61, 46, and 20. And while I did just say that they're not in a playoff spot at the moment, they are in a situation where they're just outside of the wild card. They are like 2 points back. They've played the same amount of games played. However, their recent stretch is really what seems to be the undoing here, as the team has lost 4 in a row. And over their past 10 games, they've gone 2, 6, and 2. That's not going to cut it. And for Lou Lamoriello, I think that this was kind of the deciding factor as to why this club wasn't going to be able to have Lambert be the head coach. We've seen long losing streaks with this team before under Lambert's tenure. Last year, I think they had like an 8-game losing streak. They had a long losing streak earlier in the year. This one isn't crazy, but long stretches where you only win 2 games is not going to be ideal, especially when you're not in a secure playoff spot. And unfortunately for the Islanders right now, they weren't. So Lambert ends up getting the boot. And again, with the money that they've spent on some of these guys, you look at some of the extensions that they've done before his time even, but even like the Bo Horvat extension. Lou likes to make the playoffs, and with the way that the Islanders are set up right now, they just weren't really going to be able to do that, possibly under Lambert. So as you all know, Patrick Roy will be taking over for the Islanders as their head coach, and this is a big name. He's a pretty good hockey player. Back in the day, he was a goalie, and his 3rd all-time in wins, was recently 2nd until Marc-Andre Fleury ended up passing him not that long ago. And he has some NHL experience, which is good for him. He ended up coaching 3 seasons with the Colorado Avalanche, ended up having like 131 wins, 92 losses, and I think 24 losses in overtime in the shootout, and had 1 season, the first season, where things went really well for him. After that, there wasn't as many highs as you would like to see. However, the low was really how things ended and how things got where he left kind of got messy. And Wall said before, too, that he feels like that ending and how he ended up leaving Colorado hurt his chances in the NHL. However, for him, he ended up having a good run in the QMJHL, and that could very well have been something that ended up getting him this job, aside from the fact, too, that, again, 3rd all-time in wins, has played with good players, was a great player himself, and is a guy that has seen winning firsthand, has been able to win the cup, and the Islanders maybe felt like getting a big fish like him would be a good deal for the team. Now, the thing that I will say with Wall and what we saw with Lambert is the losses that they've had lately feel like they've been more unacceptable. The loss against the Wild, where Fleury ends up getting that win to pass Wall, ironically, ended up being a very, very bad loss. They were outshot basically like 2-1. That's painful. And then the loss to Chicago the other night, that is without Connor Bedard, so that is something that's not ideal. The Islanders got to get back into their groove, because I made a video over them not too long ago where they were in the wild card mix. Their power play was clicking, they were scoring more goals, all that stuff. And while it wasn't a drastic improvement, it was still good enough to probably get them into a wild card spot. And with some of the contracts that they have and how they're structured, and maybe they couldn't trade these guys out if they missed the playoffs this year, then you start to wonder, hey, what's going to happen next year? I really couldn't tell you, but this is a little bit shocking, a little bit not. With Lambert getting fired, you do wonder again, while having like 35 games to turn this team around, is he going to be able to do it? How is he going to try to make this team play? Is he going to adjust the lines, anything like that? Is Sorokin going to be able to get some great advice from him all remains to be seen. But yeah, we have Lambert ended up getting fired today as I was taking my dog out for a walk in nice brisk like 10-degree weather, whatever it was. And so ended up getting back, and here we are recording this. Let me know your thoughts on all of this. What do you think about the situation? And do you feel like Lambert should have been fired? Do you think he should have been given the full season to finish things out? And do you think that Wall should have been the head coach here to replace him? Or do you think this one will be a big flop? Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. Eagle of Valky, alright. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.